Hi, everybody. Welcome to my first ever VOD recording, or my VOD review, I should say, of the LCS first time ever pro player pick by Someday, locking in Garen top lane, which is really exciting. This is an LCS first. So, yeah, we're going to be reviewing that today. I was in the middle of coaching while this was happening last night, so it kind of came out of left field, was not expecting it all. But then again, who could expect it, right? Like, when it comes to the LCS, Garen has not been really a viable considered pick, I think, like, on the pro player stage for some time, ever since Season 9, back then when Yubi was released, and she was, like, OP as heck. So, it's interesting to see, like, Challenger leagues and, like, collegiate leagues picking up Garen, and then having that influence actual LCS players to actually bring the pick on the stage itself is very interesting. But today we're going to go ahead and review Somdays' play himself, see what he how he took his Garen to actually impact the game, because his matchup was Cassante. Really quick before the game starts, I want to review the runes that he took. We had a traditional phase rush rune page with second wind and unflinching, which I think are very valuable tools to take versus Cassante. You're not really focusing on skinning runes because Cassante is threatening enough as is. But what's interesting to note too is that he took apparently, allegedly, one attack speed stat shard with one adaptive force and one armor, which I don't think is really too optimal. I think like the attack speed stat shard is like maybe okay for like last hitting minions on your tower, but it does make me wonder if Someday knows that it does not augment Garen's spin. So I did tweet to him bringing that up. I don't know if he's like already aware of it and he just prefers attack speed for last hitting minions, but yeah, that's just something to note. It's a little odd of a choice, but maybe there's some merit behind it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the game. Unfortunately, this is not going to be a pro view game. It's no longer a thing, so my commentary will mainly be geared towards Someday's performance when the camera is mainly on him, but I will be commentating probably on other parts of the game as we start here. So we see him traditionally being part of the 5-point. I think there was nothing really too crazy based on the few minutes I did watch off this game. I know the cast is already freaking out that Garen's actually being played in the pro player stage. I think it's really hype. I wish I could have saw this game live. It would have been really great, but it wasn't occupied already. But okay. Okay, marks the ward there. I'm actually surprised he didn't just try nudging him back a little bit there with like an auto Q. Because since he's taking Phase Rush, Ghost and Flash, I think it's actually really cool that a pro player understands how powerful Phase Rush Garen is. Like when people were telling me that like a pro player was locking in Garen, I was totally expecting like that pro player, whoever it was, to be like, all right, we're going to be seeing a Conqueror Garen with like a Flash Teleport, like standard Conquer rune page with resolve, and it's just gonna be such a slaughter fest. But this Garen actually did his homework. Someday did his homework. Yeah, so very, very impressive that I'm seeing a Ghost Flash Phase Rush Garen, because, you know, most pros do not escape the comfort barrier of taking teleport. So it's very rare here to be seeing a pro, you know, just deviate from that and just have the Ghost Flash Phase Rush playstyle. It's very, very interesting to see. So, like, I'm really happy to see this unfold. Yeah, so they have the early ward out, so they'll know if EG is going to be starting blue side, unless they go for the sweep. But let's see what he chooses to do here. I think both comps are very, very strong. They both have really, really good engages. But I do think, like, when it comes to the 5v5 team fight, I think red side's going to be probably a little bit better, because Cassante's a much better team fight than Garen is. But it can depend. It can depend on how much Garen snowballs too. Okay, so the perspective's not really on Garen here, so I don't know if I'm going to probably just choose to, like, fast forward here a little bit. We're watching some bot lane gameplay. I think we'll probably maybe just skip on a little bit here. Okay, actually... Alright, so let's go ahead and review. We caught, like, what, 2 seconds of top lane here? So based on the minimap and what we're seeing, we could probably comment on the wave manipulation a bit. Let's see if Someday's actually choosing to push early. Based on what I'm seeing here, he's actually choosing just to keep the wave where it is, based on minion RNG. So he's basically focusing on those last hits. I'm going to see by watching the minimap if he's actually choosing to go ahead and push or rather control the wave. He knows his jungler is pathing down, So it would be ideal to control his wave towards the tower because Sejuani Kazante is a very deadly combination. Sejuani is favored to gank any lane that's melee because of how her stack system works. If she works with the melee champion, she stacks that passive much, much quicker. So... yeah, it looks like the wave stays pretty even for SSUMDAY, and then Impact. Yeah, there's a lot of passive play, dang. This is much different from solo queue. In solo queue, one of the bot laners would have already be dead now. That's like 90% of my solo queue games. Who hits level 2 first? Just gung-ho all in? Alright. I get to find out within 3 minutes of me streaming the game. Okay, who died on bot lane? Who got the double kill? Who got the jungler showing up at 2:30 for like cleaning up kills? This is such a different environment. It's crazy. So we can see in the minimap here that SSUMDAY has been pushed in. So most likely, even though we can't see it right now, the wave is probably being stacked up for Kazante to either have, for Impact to either have a Cheater's Recall, or he's going to be dipping in the river to go ahead and get Scuttle Vision. But, you know, this is the name of the game. Even if you're taking second wind on Garen, you're still forfeiting early. This is a pure scaling playstyle, but that's okay. If SSUMDAY plays his cards right, he's going to be a menace that cannot be discounted. We could see just SSUMDAY being a tower. So honestly, how I anticipate this game panning out is like SSUMDAY is just basically farming for 15 minutes. I know a lot of people have been like bringing up like the whole like discussion of like saying, oh, Garen, like some pro players are saying that Garen is freeload to Kazante. Well, not quite exactly. You still have to respect what Kazante does because he's one of the most threatening top players in League of Legends right now. So SSUMDAY is doing himself a service by just sitting back and playing safe. But unfortunately, what that means for SSUMDAY is that he's going to be pushed in. He's going to be losing priority. But you know what? That's valuable because he told, either he communicated with his bot laner, his jungler, that it's valuable. He's going to be weak side, just go ahead and path bottom. Or the team agreed in general that it's just not valuable to invest in Garen early. So I think it's cool how the jungler's pathing bottom because it's probably the way to play the meta right now, right? This is bot lane kingdom. Yeah, we see SSUMDAY farming a tower based on the minimap. SSUMDAY choosing the spin right before getting hit by the Q2 because if SSUMDAY is getting vaulted into Kazante, you might as well maximize your downtime by having the spin. And for any newer Garen player out there, remember that there's no way that Garen spin can be cancelled. There's no form of car control that cancels Garen's spin. The only CC that can cancel Garen's spin is death. So really good response there. It's very simple, but very well executed. And we can see here on the scorecard too that despite being pushed in, SSUMDAY is having a greater CS count, which is very, very impressive to see. Because Kazante is a champion who can punish with short trades very, very easily because of the Grasp Within Dying playstyle. So this is going to be the first window of opportunity where we actually maybe can see some top lane movement because we have our EG jungler moving into topside river, which means it could be potential top lane gank, but although getting the Scuttle, SSUMDAY is in a position where he can contest priority for Scuttle, so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Looks like none of the laners are basically moving, trying not to give it away, so EG has intel. Okay. Okay, Vic putting the ward out, but it's not going to spot the Gragas. Okay, he's going over the wall, so he can maybe sneak a gank here. Okay. Interesting ward there on the blast cone. We can see SSUMDAY building a ward up slowly on top side. But based on the movement of the icons, he could be trying to skim the waves to keep it even. That's gonna be first blood. Alright. Spamming the emotes, I'd like to see it. Alright. I really wish I could have seen this game through pro play, because right now, Garen keeping this CS count is really, really impressive. It makes me wonder if the attack speed stat chart is helping him with farm. Because, you know, honestly, like, having a higher CS count is definitely valuable for Garen. The more farm he's able to get, the more W stacks he gets, and therefore the more durable he is, the more gold he gets, and so his pocket, the closer he is to his first item. So, could this be someday having just really clean CSing? Or is this the attack speed stat chart actually paying off? It remains to be seen, but, you know, definitely something to think about, because usually when I play versus Cassante, I am always behind in farm, because if the Cassante is punishing me properly, he's denying me farm or trying to hit me every single time I'm going for a minion, because his range technically outranges Garen. Cassante has a dash, he's got the range on Q, he's got the shield, so like trying to win short trades versus aggressive guy Cassante is just like not possible for Garen. For Garen to have the CS number right now is actually really impressive. Yeah. Okay, so he actually built the slow wave. Will he choose to try to crash it? Okay, Impact is going to try to stall the wave, which therefore halts SSUMDAY'S recall. I'm assuming that SSUMDAY'S like around like maybe 1k gold. This is like around the period of time where he can maybe like get potentially Berserker Graves. He got 37 CS. So I'm assuming this is probably maybe going for Iron Spike Whip, but since he's choosing to stay, he wants to make sure that the recall is actually happening. Cool part here is that Impact is slowly getting burnt out on mana, and SSUMDAY is still near full HP with a health potion, and passive running, and second wind still in tow. So what could potentially happen here is that Impact is going to have to back before level 6, because if he chooses to play out until level 6, SSUMDAY can literally just pop Ghost, go for a QER, and just blow up Impact. Or go for a auto QE to proc Phase Rush, whittle him down further, and then prep that subsequent dive. So I'm actually interested to see how we're going to play this out. But at this point of the laning phase, it's going to be very difficult for Sejuani to go ahead and assist Impact, because we're dealing with a Ghost Flash Phase Rush Garen. There's going to have to be a ton of resources expended in order to get SSUMDAY on Death Timer, which is why this strategy is so effective. So, like, honestly, like, Grasping and Dying, like, doesn't do much in the greater scheme of, like, second wind and how much HP Garen gets back if he lets passive run. Based on how the lane's trending right now, SSUMDAY technically will hit level 6 before Impact. And if he times the all-in correctly, he can kill Impact at level 6 himself before Impact hits level 6. Alright, looks like he got somewhat of a crash and he's going ahead and recalling. Looks like it's a cannon wave. I think that's 7 minions I'm seeing on the minimap. Yeah, and then obviously mid lane's mini wave logged up. So it has to be a cannon wave. He's recalling and getting Iron Spike Whip. So he's choosing to do this over tier 2 boots because it complements the Phase Rush playstyle. Using QE in conjunction with the Iron Spike Whip allows an easy Phase Rush active, but he's also picking up a Control 2. And it looks like he didn't use the health potion from his first outing, so that's actually okay. I definitely think it's indicative of a very, very smart and sound Garen player when they do not use their health potion necessarily. I see a lot of Garens just spamming their potion just for the sake of topping themselves off. I think it's really cool how somebody held onto his potion and just said, you know what, I'm only going to use this in a case of emergency. So. Good move my camera down here. Alright, you got back to lane. Looks like Slow Wave is building up. He's going to attempt the hard crash, most likely with Spin Iron Spike Whip. We can't see it right now. But what, well, let me pause here really quickly. I think that, like, him not getting much jungle assistance is probably very, very ideal. Like, Garen doesn't need to be technically assisted in this circumstance unless impact is critically low. So for Garen to technically incubate, so to speak, with this rune page is just fine, because Garen will be highly impactful later on once he has his Stride Breaker, he has his tier 2 boots. So, like, it's okay for the jungler on this team to play for bot middle. Like, it's a little bit different of a solo queue environment because you can trust your teammates to make an investment into mid lane, into bot lane. Because I really feel like that getting priority for mid and bottom, getting like an early dragon will be probably much more valuable for Garen later on. Especially if it's like a scaling type of dragon. For example, maybe the Hextech Dragon, the Infernal Drake, the Mountain Drake, something like that. Or even the Air Drake, the most valuable one, I think, for Garen. I think Hextech Drake spawned, which is okay for Garen. He doesn't value the attack speed as much. But the CDR is kind of nice. So I think the attack speed is probably more valuable for the Varus and the Azir. Oh my god. Okay, impressive roam. Let's take a look at that once again. So he goes ahead and crashes the wave and then just roams all the way down. Instead of just idling, instead of choosing to go for the scuttle, he chooses to coordinate with his teammate. Because, yep, JoJo's got the Shurima shuffle. And then sends the Talia towards her dome. That's really, really good. Yeah, ultim straight towards Garen. That is some coordinated LCS plays right there. I wish I could have my solo queue Azir do that in my games. Instead, what the Azir will probably do is go ahead and miss the ultimate and then spam Mastery emote level 7. Yeah. Alright, alright. But Garen someday did use the Ghost for follow-up there. Really, really good response. Is he going to choose to go for the Scuttle after? No? Okay, okay. He's going to let his jungle get it. That's a fair assessment. Okay, gets back in time. Just in time to go ahead and defend versus Impact's Demolish Proc. Outstanding. Okay, so since Garen's ultimate is still up, I mean, the jungler here, Inspire, can still make a potential play for to gank Impact. It just is a matter of if he can move over the evasion that's available, because right now Impact does have its control in the River Rush, which is probably going to be the most deterring thing. In order for, like, Inspire to actually get a gank out, he would probably have to go over the Herald Wall, but not being seen by this warp, which I don't know if they actually know is there right now, so it's kind of a difficult situation. Ganking top is kind of really tough right now, but you know what? Garen's taking Sailor Runes, he's just chilling. Okay, dodges the Q2. Very, very nice. Somebody should try to go for a small trade there to go ahead and punish him, but I think, like, he's playing very, very passive. I assume it's because of the wave manipulation. Every short trade that Garen takes, unfortunately, pushes the wave back. So because his Ghost is down, he might be electing to go ahead and play a little bit safer, because, like, even though Flash and Phase Rush are abundant, you still have to be a little bit more considerate when your Ghost is down, because, like, Cassante and Sejuani both can throw Garen around with a good flank, like a pinball in a pinball machine. So I think that's one of the reasons why he's maybe just choosing to sit back a bit, just biding his time, not taking any unnecessary risks. Yep, weak side warrior. Okay, I see an engage happening on Cassante. Okay, looks like a retaliation from Cassante. It looks like he evened up the CS score. Okay, Cassante is now in the CS lead. Okay, so I'm assuming there's some sort of pressure being applied where Someday is being zoned off the wave. It's hard to see because we can only get that information on the minimap. But we are past the 10-minute mark where Someday has probably a stack of Gathering Storm. I don't know if he took Celerity this game or Transcendence. So it remains to be seen like what type of scaling runes he took. But I do think that in time, once Someday gets to level 11, he'll start to play more aggressive versus Cassante and hopefully get some solo kills. Honestly, with the level 8 passive, I would personally prefer to see Someday starting to go in for some trades, because with the Iron Spike whip active and being so close to tower, even if Cassante chooses to on, he's going to have to ult over the wall into the enemy jungle, which I think is very unfavorable for impact. Or he's just going to be near tower and get ulted to tower, which is favorable for Someday anyway. So I think like any Cassante player, if you're choosing to play aggressive, it has to be near your own tower instead of Cassante's tower, which the inverse can happen. That can be very bad for Someday. But I mean, there's a lot of sustain, admittedly, that Someday has to work through, because we do see Cassante sitting with Doran Shield with 2 potions, 3 biscuits. So I mean, for Cassante not to use any biscuits is very indicative of how passive Someday has actually played. He's playing very, very slow. But I think like this type of playstyle really benefits the pro play environment. I've alluded to this earlier, but when you trust your team to not feed 10 kills in 10 minutes, this playstyle is very, very valuable. Like, that's the reason why I think this playstyle might benefit pro play more than solo queue, because you have trust in your teammates. This is your own team that you're playing with competitively, right? So... okay, we're gonna engage here. Ayla might be, yeah, down for the count. Okay, that was the solo queue ward adventure right there. Okay, we got some trades going on here. Okay, dodges the Q1. Okay, really good use of phase rush there. Trying to hold the wave here so you can keep the wave control. That's good. Wants to let the impact extend just a little bit longer, so that way Bomby Cinder pushes the wave a bit out. So that means impact's a little bit more endangered for the short trade. All right, and the camera fortunately changes, so now we have to go back on what's on the mini map. It looks like that Impact's trying to struggle to get the wave to crash, and it looks like Someday's objective right now is to try to prevent that wave from crashing, because we do see EG's jungler move up to potentially go for a flank. I think they are still cognizant of that control being the rush, so I want to see how that actually pans out. It looks like Inspired's just not even entertaining the ganks. He's just continuing to farm out, so... okay, they walk over vision. It's like Someday's trying to respond to where Cassante's going. Flycoast responding by taking the dragon because they have confirmation as to where EG's jungler is. Okay, that's fair. Question is, are they going to pick it up though, or is the Thresh going to steal it? And we got the smite charge, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so 1 dragon for red side. That's okay. Not the most valuable dragon anyway. Okay, so all right, so we have the back. Okay, this is a what? Game timer here. We have 11-minute. Okay, so we have an 11-minute strike breaker. The exchange in value for that, though, was that Impact was able to take a tower plate off of Demolish. So there's another wave that's coming in that I think is a non-cannon wave. I'm curious to see if what Someday's going to go ahead and ghost in lane here to be able to catch it. We'll see what happens.
Closing parenthesis.
Okay, so he doesn't use the ghost to catch the wave. Okay, that's fine. I think using ghosts to catch cannon waves is probably a little bit more valuable. Okay, Cassante's going to get the back. I think that's going to assemble... okay, he's going to assemble the Sunfire Aegis. Okay, he's going to go ahead and pick up on consumables. That's fine. All right, so this is where Garen probably has the power spike advantage. I'm going to say that a Garen having Strikebreaker is going to be more formidable and more threatening than a Cassante with Sunfire Cape. Let's go ahead and see if Someday's now going to understand that power spike difference and going to go ahead and play aggressive as a result. Curious to see. Yeah, like sticking damage is going to be tough because Cassante is so durable. But if he attempts into Q trades, he should be able to do it. Okay, it looks like Casante's got lane priority. He's going to be heading into river to help with Herald. Will Someday choose to respond? Okay, it looks like he's going to be entering the fight. Now, he has his sums up if he wants to go ahead and dive for the Sejuani, but it looks like because of how their formation right now, it could be really risky for Someday to go in here. Who was the one who claimed Herald? Was it Red Side? Because it looks like that they're not even bothering to pick it up. So I'm curious to see. Now, I think like the most obvious target here would probably be go for Casante if he has the Stridebreaker active back up, which I think he does. We see him just use Ghost, so let's see how he navigates these fights. What he could do is proc Phase Rush and Impact, zoom to the jungler on FlyQuest, and then we'll go ahead and blow him up with Ultimate. So that could be probably the really good play here. Let's see what happens. Okay, he's just turning around. Okay, he's choosing not to hard commit. Okay. Yeah, I was pretty surprised too, to be honest. Okay. Sums down on impact though, including teleport. It's so crazy how to see certain junglers heal back up the full HP off the jungle. It's really, really crazy. I think that's what makes top lane so difficult, because notice how Someday comes back to lane, but then he's probably having the own monologue in his head being like, okay, well, Sejuani, even though Sejuani was critically low, heading over to the wall to red, she can take 2 camps and then heal back to 80% health and then be able to gank top like 30 seconds after. So 30 to 40 seconds after. So like it's crazy like how reserved you had to be sometimes playing top lane. Even with a safe playstyle like this, Somebody's playing very, very reserved. Like he said guaranteed. Okay, so the wave crash is on his end. Somebody's probably trying to look for like another power spike item to back on. Probably doesn't have enough gold for that just yet. Okay, he's going for the flank here. Okay, no hesitates on it. Okay, never mind. He's gonna go for the hard shove. I think if he dashed him a Q, he could have maybe applied a strike breaker there. Every jungler has Garen passive now. Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Pretty nutty. Yep, bot side on EG looking very, very strong here. They're playing the vision game extremely well. These Gragas ganks, high impact. Yeah, for either champion between impact and Someday to actually get each other low, it takes a lot of trades. It's a big, big slugfest. Yeah, it's pretty even. I do think that Garen does have the advantage, as discussed before, late game, but you can just see how even this lane is. I still think that this is the best overall playstyle to take compared to taking a Conqueror playstyle versus Cassante. What is interesting to note here is that, like, Impact's mana is starting to get, like, pretty critical. He's going to have to probably start using those biscuits if he wants to stay in lane until his teleport is back up. Okay, oh my god, this is a 4-man dive. Oh, uses the ultimate to dodge the Azir knockback. That was a really, really good counter there. Holy flip. Okay, very, very impressive Impact's end. Dang, that was impressive stuff. Yeah, he gets the recall. Elects to go for these Stridebreaker boots. So it looks like Impact is not quite familiar with the CDR build. Chooses to go for more a burst-heavy damage playstyle build, probably using the Berserker Graves into Zeal. So gets a Ruby Crystal there sitting as a component. That's interesting. Okay. I wonder what his next item is going to be. Okay, he's rotating bottom. Okay, red team takes the dragon. 2 dragons up. Are they going to engage? We have ultimates up. Okay, they choose not to commit. Okay, EG's playing very, very reserved here. Okay, SSUMDAY'S going back down bottom. Hopefully they push for the tier 1 tower. He has his W value stacked, so he's power spiked very, very handsomely. It does leave me with the question, would have it been better for SSUMDAY just to commit to conditioning? Because I feel like even with second wind, he didn't play aggressive enough to get value out of it. I would personally like to see the final value numbers here for second wind, but I feel like with how he was controlling the wave this game, it leaves me pondering if he was better off potentially taking conditioning overgrowth, because I feel like this playstyle might be better suited with the scaling resolve runes. I think like second wind unflinching is good, but there has to be some expectation to eventually play aggressive, which I do think that SSUMDAY did skip out on. So I don't know if that's like him not knowing this matchup super well, or maybe him just trying to play with the reserve playstyle of VG in general. But I do think, like, honestly, it would have been better to see conditioning here at the very least. Because if you do play safe enough, you technically can survive versus a Cassante without second wind. Yeah, so I feel like right now SSUMDAY'S play could be elevated a little bit. Right, we have a lot of question marks right now regarding the attack speed stat chart, the second wind, you know, how many builds does he know, right? Is he just copy pasting builds, right? So a lot of questions here. Personally, I think I would like to see SSUMDAY attempt to freeze in bot lane, because I think him pushing in waves over and over is just not really benefiting him as much. I think like with how the game state is right now, and EG being ahead slightly, I think it would be much more valuable since he can tank waves to maybe put Impact in a position that makes him a little bit more vulnerable by choosing to have him just push the wave out towards him. Towards SSUMDAY, because of course some of our agents is something you cannot shut off, so you are bound to push the wave no matter what. And then what SSUMDAY can do is tank the wave there. Okay, so he backs and picks up the Zeal. That's super cool. All right, I'm loving this build. Loving that Zeal component right after Stridebreaker. This dude's doing his homework. It looks like he's trying to decide whether or not he wants to assist middle or rotate bottom. Looks like he's electing the push bottom. Actually, no, he's kind of going zigzag a little bit. He was pathing towards bottom, then pathing towards middle. He's choosing to give the tower here. Okay, so this is interesting. Like, that concept of freezing that I brought up before can be easily applied towards the tier 2, and it's probably even more favorable for him to do so. So if I do see SSUMDAY, like, shove bottom, I personally would like him to see implement a freeze if possible. Him shoving the way back out, I think, is just not going to be the call here. But Herald has spawned. Impact has teleport. Let's see how this fight pans out. Okay, he's helping take the Herald. Spin damage is very, very potent when it comes to taking Herald. They got the Herald. Okay, that's good. Is Vulcan going to be okay? Okay, Lantern brings over the ADC. Tries to clear out mid lane, but it looks like they lose mid lane in retaliation. That's a bit unfortunate. Yeah, so because unfortunately SSUMDAY did not take teleport, he did have to forfeit the tier 1 tower to make this play. So there is a bit of an exchange here going on. I honestly think it might have been better for EG to potentially have SSUMDAY keep tabs on Cassante and maybe operate a 4v4 to get the Herald, because I think like there could have been a world where they could have gotten Herald without the without SSUMDAY needing to be there, and they could have preserved the tier 1 tower. So there is some exchanges that aren't so favorable for EG here. There is going into FlyQuest's pocket, and hopefully they don't get punished too hard by doing that. Yeah, they have yet to take a tower right now, so... I wonder what Somedays next item is going to be. I could personally see him go into Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver would be a fantastic choice here because we see two champions who are abundantly going to be stacking armor. And then, of course, there's also mages with the armor items such as Hourglass, and then we have Kafilas who could potentially go for GA. So I think Cleaver would be a really good damage amp, especially towards the damage that FEI is going to be putting out later on in the game because he's going without Everus. Could really be a good damage amp here. Well, it remains to be seen what he's going to go for next. Okay, we got another dragon coming up soon. Looks like he's rotating to match Impact's rotation. Looks like they're trying to siege the tier 1, but I don't think they have enough wave clear to do it. Okay, and Someday's gonna go back down bottom. Again, like with their rotation speed, especially with Thresh and Lantern, I really feel like instead of trying to push for the tier 1 here, he could just go and implement a freeze down bottom. Like they're on a team that got voice comms. I think this is just typically a pro player NA issue in particular, but I'm definitely seeing the opportunities where we could get a substantial CS lead here if Someday just elected the freeze. Because unlike Asante, who went the AoE wave clear item, Someday has the ability to freeze. Not only that, but tanking waves too. Okay, so he goes for the Kindle Gem. He goes for the Kindle Gem. So this leads me to believe that he's going to be going Cleaver and then maybe upgrading his Zeal after, or maybe going for a Stair's Gauge. That's not bad. This was such a conditioning over growth game. Like, Someday would probably have 200 bonus health at this point. Oh no. Okay, FEI coming in with the cleanse. Okay, that's good. They were able to reposition to tier 2. Oh my god, coming in with the Talia ultimate, just getting in melee range. Oh my god, this fight is getting crazy. Impact barely living with like a sliver of HP. Here comes Someday coming in with the Ghost Empowered spin to win. Okay, but the Hourglass, okay. Drops the Demacian Justice disrespect. Oh my god. Can Spica actually survive? Got the phase rush? He should have saved ultimate. He should have saved ultimate. If he saved ultimate instead of just going for the style points, he could have blew up their Spica too. Yeah. Like that was a play where ult did not need to be put on Vikla. But that's okay. I mean, they get Air Drake. I mean, not the end of the world. Still a really impactful team fight there. Okay, have all 5. Okay, we have Home Guard coming out for their ADC and mid laner from Fly. They gotta get rid of this dragon soon because they're on their way. Okay, looks like they've chosen to concede the dragon. Okay, that's good. Okay, so Air Drake is a really big power play here for Garen. Benefits their entire team, but for Garen the most specifically, Air Drake is the cream of the crop dragon that can pick up. Okay, uses the Herald to blow up. Okay, this is really, really good. Favorable position not only for the entirety of VG, but Someday as well. So what I'm thinking here is that he's getting the gold close to building up his Cleaver, and then at that point he can pretty much go ahead and front to back work with FBI to amp his damage, and then there's going to be some clean fights coming in here. Okay, we see Someday engaging on impact as this fight's panning out, zoning him out as he goes ahead and groups up with the rest of his team. Okay, alright. Jojo picking up some kills left and right. 2 people dead. This could be the potential Baron play. Someday just trying to zone out. Applying as many armor shred stacks as possible. Just trying to buy time. It's probably much more valuable for him to be a zoner because Someday's disengage potential as Garen with phase rush is much stronger. He's got his ultimate up. Is he going to make a play? There we go. Demacia, baby. They got the Strike Breaker coming in. Oh my god, look at him zooming. Oh my god, that is a fantastic Baron performance. If I trusted more of my solo queue teams to go ahead and just take the Baron, like, I would probably be doing this a lot more in my games too. But, like, in terms of formatting, if you already have somebody on your team who can tank Baron, don't try to be tank number 2. Use your various tools of being so slippery in fights to go ahead and be an absolute nuisance to the enemy. And the strategies that Someday used to go ahead and zone away the enemy team or just to go ahead and buy time was very, very valuable for EG. So, well done. Super bravo there. Yeah, Captain Flowers has a really, really good point there. They played that Baron steal very, very patiently. Or they played the Baron take very, very patiently. Because they were just sitting in the pit for like good old 30 seconds. While, like, Someday was actually just trying to go ahead and to basically butter up. Speak up for the ult. So, like, getting Sejuani on Death Timer means that they definitively get the Baron 100%. So I think they played that very, very patiently there. I do agree with Flowers. Okay, so Someday has the Cleaver. Yeah, so taking a look at the fight there. Really, really patient. Ideally, Someday was trying to save ultimate for Spica, but unfortunately, because he's got zoned out by impact, it's just more valuable to go ahead and ult him there, then just go ahead and chase down Spica, and then just try to use the rest of QEW to go ahead and kill. But look how he's working with FBI to go ahead and just shred Sejuani. Now that impact is going to be, no pun intended, two-folded because of the Cleaver activation. That's really, really good there. Oh no, I didn't even get to see how this fight broke out. How did this happen? Okay, so in the meantime, it looks like in the Fallout, Someday was able to get the tier 2 tower and he's pressuring topside. Because of this pressure being applied, now FlyQuest has to recall because Someday is close to getting a tier 3 tower. So let's see how they respond with that. Okay, EG trying to stop some recalls to buy Someday time. Oh my god, check that out. Yep, this is the side lane monster presence. So, like, if you got... Okay, so we're going to see Garen's pick rate go up. All right, you guys watching this video, you guys know what Garen does. Because of Someday's performance in LCS, we are undoubtedly going to see Garen's pick rate come up. If you have Garen using this playstyle, I cannot stress this enough, that you guys need to let Garen operate in a side lane when it comes to Baron pressure. Like, Garen does not provide much value to any type of siege comp. It's much better for him to draw pressure in a side lane because his ability to pressure towers and being able to escape from complex situations by having phase rush, having Strike Breaker active, having Ghost, having Flash is so versatile and being able to take side objectives like this. So if you guys have Garen in your solo queue teams, you need to be patient and let him work in a side lane, especially if he can threaten a pick at this point. For example, Cassante, who has like no offensive items, just built purely tank, built Merc Treads to deal with teamfight that does not do anything for Garen. This is the correct way to let Garen thrive, especially with the Baron buff. So like if you guys have Garen on your solo queue team, you gotta let him do his thing. Let him play patient, because you'll get results like this. Okay, looks like he's working into Demon's plate next. So he's trying to focus on pure mobility. This is the phase rush mobility playstyle. What's really valuable here is that he's going to be extremely slippery into the side lane. But I think one of the reasons why he's choosing to prioritize this build is because, again, this is a pro play game. Someday is going to have a noticeable lack of rotation speed if he doesn't have teleport, which he doesn't. So in order for him to show up in a timely manner to these plays, he's choosing to prioritize the Demon's plate because being able to rotate like 10 to 15 seconds quicker because of the Demon's plate is probably going to be more valuable to EG because he will require Someday to show up. If this is more of a solo queue environment and I felt confident in my team, I personally would have preferred a more selfish choice. For example, a Hole Breaker, which at this point, the Garen player would be able to walk past Kazante and be able to take towers because he Hole Breaker. But yeah, again, noteworthy that I think because Someday's not taking teleport, there has to be a critical focus on movement speed because he has to show up for some stuff. Like that is inevitable, whether it's going to be Dragon Soul, Elder Drake, you know, the whole 9 yards. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, so this the fight panned out. Honestly, I think Someday is probably not doing himself a good kind service by choosing to push with bottom. I think he'd be much better off pushing topside than having a 1-1-3 instead of having a like a 1-4 here potentially. But I mean, he can be a good body block for skill shots and he can be like a good zoning agent. I just think that because Someday has sums up, he should be exploiting that more by using a side lane, maybe potentially going top to flank the Aphelios, etc, etc. Alright, but he's going to get the reset here to go ahead and prep for Dragon. He's showing up with his team. Again, his rotation speed is pretty good. He's got Demon's plate. He is zooming right now. Notice the Zeal component. Alright, guys? We have pro players building Zeal, sitting on it as a component. It's valuable. It's valid. Do it in your games. You are sitting on an over 100% gold efficient component that benefits Garen in every aspect of the game. Please, the pro players doing it, build Zeal. Alright? This person did their homework. Open up those doors, the Church of Zeal, and accept the item into your heart today. I think he could have actually engaged on impact there to draw pressure. I think what Someday needs to do, is to get a little bit more confident in baiting fights, because I think, like, what's really exploitable with this playstyle, in terms of his opponents, is just being able to bait fights. Like, get in his face, activate phase rush, and just kind of, like, poke and prod at the enemy a little bit. See if we can go ahead and probe a engage or counter engage on their point to make them burn resources. That is the ideal late game fantasy of phase rush. Sure, it's a little dangerous, especially when your sums are up, but he's got sums up right now. I don't see a world where the enemy team would be able to kill Someday in any shape or form. So he needs to grow that confidence level. I think there's definitely a ceiling that needs to be pushed a little bit here. And I'm curious to see how Someday is going to perform in his future Garen performances, because like this playstyle, it demands, you know, like poking at the bee's nest. If he's not doing a side lane, at least try to engage on Kazante. You know, QE, zoom out, prod for that engage. This is extremely valuable for Someday, though. Stacking Air Drakes is such an ideal fantasy right now. With the second Air Drake, he's probably banking over 500 MS. So he's going to be zooming across the map. It makes me think that he probably would have been better off with the Hole Breaker here, because now we're sitting on 2 Air Drakes. It does bring some redundancy to the Demons. So I kind of wish that there was a world here where he got Hole Breaker instead, because at this point, like if he was sitting a Hole Breaker, he was pushing this Cannon Wave up. There's not much impact could do to stop him from just taking the tier 3 tower. There'd have to be a minimum of 2 people monitoring him the entire point of this game, and that would be really good pressure for Someday to go ahead and start drawing. But yeah, look at that MS. Yeah, they're gone. Oh my god, yeah. Just zooming out down on that hole again. Demacia, baby. Yeah, even with the Shirley's active, it was not enough. Okay, missing ping. Red side's missing ping. Okay, they were trying to wonder where Someday is. Okay, he's choosing to go with the stopwatch. I think this is a really, really good choice here because he is sitting on a bounty. Honestly, I should be building a stopwatch more. But this is a really, really good pickup. Stopwatch is rather valued in pro play because of the coordinated usage, right? Is he going to stop it? Oh my god, he actually stops it because of the CDR provided by Black Cleaver. And this could have been a Transcendence diff too. Oh my god, he gets it. Follows the flash with his own flash. Coming in there with the kill. Oh my god, bring it down the house. Demacia, baby. Let's go. Oh my god. Getting the Lancer there. Okay, all right. With impact on Death Timer, they can force the Baron. This is a high impact, high octane Garen play. All right, this is the solo queue fantasy. We're sitting a 700 gold bounty right now on Garen. Oh my god. This is the life right now, dudes. LCS Garen. Okay, what's Someday gonna do to start zoning? He's playing a little reserved. I know his flash and ghost is down, so he's probably playing a little bit more reserved because, again, him giving 1k to the enemy is a win condition for that enemy team. So he sees the wall out. Okay, so he's sitting back. He's playing very, very reserved. Now, this is a very, very common mistake in solo queue where you think that you're very, very strong. You say to yourself, okay, I'm 7-0 Garen, right? I can do anything. But it's a very, very foolish mistake to create that mentality because notice how Someday is dialing his playback because his sums are down and he's sitting on a 1k gold bounty. You know, if you guys struggle with this concept of solo queue and trying to adjust your tempo of aggression towards passive play, this is a perfect example detailing why you should be in a circumstance of passive play, because Someday recognizes that if he dies, it's going to be an extremely valuable thing for FlyQuest. He doesn't have any sums, so instead, what he's trying to do is to hold on to his abilities, not forcing his Stride Breaker, not forcing his QWE. He's just going ahead and just dangling in front of the opponent because he's sitting on 500 MS out of combat. And if Sejuani ever engages, or Talia, or Lulu, he can automatically disengage, and that draws time and buys pressure. So I think this positioning is really good. He's just trying to go ahead and be as juicy as possible, waiting and probing for FlyQuest to go ahead and respond in a way that's valuable and of substance to Someday. So this is really, really cool to see that he's just sitting back. Like, he's playing the KDA player, right? There's no point in giving the 1k gold bounty. He's just chilling. He's just waiting to see what FlyQuest is going to do. Oh my god, $100. Okay, all right, let's talk about. I feel like, okay, after the engage there, I feel like Someday could have maybe just body blocked, because we have Jojo here. I feel like he should have tried. I feel like he should have just tried body blocking. Speak up from going over the wall and smiting. Did he smite it over the wall? I don't think that's possible. He has to dash in, right? Okay, so he ends up flashing in. So unfortunately, because of the flash, I don't think maybe Someday could have stopped that. Oh god, yeah, it was a pretty decent steal. But I think like there was an engagement, especially after Prince missed the ultimate. I personally would have gone in on Sejuani, the proc phase, and then zoomed out towards Vulcan. Dang, that was a really good move on FlyQuest's end. That is a big play for FlyQuest. I don't know why Somebody is not attempting a silence. Because with Baron getting quickly though there, if he lanes the silence, he can prevent Spica from flashing over the wall and Q. He denies both things there. So I think like what SSUMDAY could have done was, okay, we're seeing the smite window here. It's coming up. Right as Spica wants to go over the wall, he lands the silence. And then that could have maybe prevented this play from happening. If the worst comes to worst, if they actually counter-engage, he's just going to phase rush and zoom the heck out of there to the left. So I think this was maybe a missed opportunity by SSUMDAY to make an impactful silence there to prevent the steal. Yeah. Not saying it was like 100% like foolproof. I think like, you know, it would have been a pretty close window to call, but at least take the shot, you know? Because I still think that SSUMDAY could have escaped, even if it did went south. Oh, there's the rapid fire cannon. Yep, I heard about this one. Oh, Captain Flower's asking me about why Garen building gun. Okay, so he updates the Zeal to the rapid fire. Okay, guys, we are gaming now. This is true Garen gameplay, peak Garen gameplay. We got the gun. Okay, okay. Misses the hook. Okay, SSUMDAY coming in from the left side flank. Can he go in? Okay, no, he's keeping back. He's keeping reserved. He's waiting. He's waiting. FBI's in a really bad spot, though. He flashes over the wall. SSUMDAY's looking for a window to go in. Just monitoring his team. Looking back to get back to safety. Tier 2 towers most likely falling. Okay, that's fine. Oh my god, they're freaking out the rapid fire cannon. Oh my god. It's kind of like 56, but, you know, he gets that number. Oh my god. It's just the Empower Q, guys. It's just the Empower Q. Okay. SSUMDAY's positioning himself really, really good. He's trying to prod and pressure the inhibitor. Like, it's sitting in the side lane, very, very important there. So I want to see him do it more. I think, like, until we see, like, a soul point contest here, I want to see him bottom. I want to see him top. I want to see him trying to prod the inhibitor, because I don't see anybody on this side team who could really reliably stop him. If his flash is up, he could flash up with the Tilia wall. Since it's down, you know, obviously Tilia flanking is probably the most concerning thing right now. But once that's up, I want to see SSUMDAY try to provide pressure, at least before the dragon's up. I do want to let you guys know, too. Oh, he swapped... Okay, so he swapped his Berserker Graves to Mercury Treads. That's very interesting. So it looks like he chose to commit for a teamfight playstyle. And I guess, like, the tenacity is very valuable there. I don't know if this was exactly needed. I personally think that he could have maybe just gotten a Elixir of Fortitude for this upcoming dragon fight. I think, like, selling the Berserker Graves when he's sitting on flinching already, maybe not the most ideal thing there. I mean, he does want to get a little bit more dive heavy. I know that because he's only sitting on, like, 10% of tenacity, it does kind of restrict his plays a little bit here. But, yeah, a little bit of an interesting choice. I guess it's acceptable. But I'm really curious to see what he's going to be doing with the stopwatch there, in my opinion. He does have to play defensive because, again, that 1k gold bounty is never going to go down at this point. If SSUMDAY does die once, it's going to be a big shake for the enemy team. You know, if Prince picks it up, if Vic picks it up, if Impact even picks it up, it's going to be really, really bad news. So I understand why he's playing so preserved right now. I'm just playing the vision game. I honestly think that this is the 1-3-1 type of element, especially with like JoJo going top, or vice versa, and then SSUMDAY taking the opposite corresponding lane. I'm curious to see if Ssumday going to go for the mini group when Dragon comes up, or if he's going to try to draw pressure and then rotate with his 510 movement speed. Personally, my call would be try to rotate after bringing a wave to their base. Let Impact respond, and then let them operate the 4v4. Because what happens here is that if Garen can get the solo kill, well, it's going to be difficult to kill Cassandra because he's sitting on Stoneplate now. But he can pressure the inhibitor and probe and see if one of them is going to respond. Because I think if Garen walks into the base right now, that top lane inhibitor could not be stopped. Like that top lane inhibitor being blown up cannot be stopped by Cassandra. They would need 2 people to do it. So personally, before Dragon comes up, I would like to see Ssumday hard shove this wave out and then just instantly walk into their base and say, "What's up?" Because him sitting on double sums like this, plus you know, Stripebreaker and Mercury Treads, I do not see any element where the enemy team could possibly stop him. Like, I think that's a free inhibitor right now. He just needs to pat top and let them have the 4-man. You know, if they show up, then, you know, obviously have him recall, of course, but like, I think the call right now is to prod the top lane inhibitor. Yeah, we got Baron up in 50 seconds, so it looks like he's gonna be doing the bot side push first. Which is interesting because I feel like JoJo should be the one having bot lane because he's the one sitting on teleport. It looks like instead he's choosing to hover Ssumday. It's a little bit of an interesting macro call here. Honestly, there's a reality here where he could have went Phantom Dancer for hitting towers, and then instead of Demons, go Hullbreaker, and then he could have been like an unstoppable threat. Cassandra would have not been able to match him. Talia, unable to match him. He's going to be sitting on 160 magic resistance. So, yeah, until like Talia gets the Void Staff, he'd be doing 0 damage to Garen here. But it leaves me with a question that I brought up earlier, and my question was, what builds does Ssumday know? Because sure, this build is applicable to what's happening in this game if you want to, you know, be a frontliner for teamfighting, picking people off. But imagine if the game could only be won through splitting. We were dealing with a Cog Lulu instead, or a Vayne Lulu, and like they're getting to a point where they just can't win fights. Like, it really makes me ponder if Ssumday knows alternate builds to acquire win conditions that aren't exactly just group and blow people up. So it does make me ponder a little bit, but let's see what he ends up doing here to close out this game. Okay, they're looking for the engage window. Notice how Ssumday's standing in front of the Varus to be able to soak the Sejuani element. If he responds with W, he gets to shrug that off, so I think his positioning is very keen. Okay, they're just trying to go ahead and create a zone barrier for taking Baron. They're going for another Baron attempt. Yeah, I don't exactly agree with the macro here on EG. Okay, they're just flipping it. Okay, he tried to go on Ayla. Okay, so yeah, but the thing is with the Philosis build, he's probably gonna get bursted down. Ssumday does not have Sterak's gauge. That's the concerning part. So like, he can get melted extremely easily in these fights. I'm curious as to what he's gonna be building next, because honestly, I do think Sterak's needs to be in his inventory, especially with him stacking multiple health items. But I'm just saying, guys, Conditioning Overgrowth would have supplemented an amazing Sterak's late game, too. I don't know if he got too much value out of the second one influencing this game. Yeah. I think, like, the qualms I have with Ssumday's, like, call here, I can't go with full criticism because this is more so, like, okay, the team's agreeing to do something. So, like, maybe this is more like of a North America competitive issue that I have right now, analyzing this game. But I just want to let you guys know that, like, I think Ssumday, with his build right now, could be applying so much more pressure than it is. Right now, he's basically just hovering, waiting to go in. He's basically like almost like a guard dog waiting for his master to send him in. All right, well, without further ado, we have a fight breaking out here. So let's see how he chooses to approach this fight. I'm assuming that what he's going to do is just go directly onto Spica, assuming that he can get the full combo. And if he is able to get the full armor shred here, and Varus is able to keep his range, he should be blown up with the full Demacian Justice. But let's see what happens. Okay, the stun does apply. Okay. I don't really like this at all. Why not just, like, guide themselves to base and have them defend with the Baron minions while Ssumday can, like, maybe go ahead and just eat at the minions that are behind them. That way this wave dissipates. If they can just clear this wave, that means they won't have any more minions to push. So maybe this is what he's going to attempt, or maybe he's going to attempt to flank. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Okay, he's coming in for the flank. He's going to activate the ghost. Oh, there we go. Just straight R-click Demacia, baby. All right. Oh my god. Just they completely forgot that Ssumday. And what Ssumday was so great because he just said, you know, it's C impact. I'm gonna leave you in the dust. Just went ahead and just zoomed past him with the phase rush there. Oh my god, beautiful. That was very daring for FlyQuest to even just engage, because like I don't even know what their objective was there. If they even, like, have a winning fight and they don't completely ace EG, they're not even going to be able to end the game, I think, because of the Baron minions. If they lose this fight, the variance is so much higher because now, look, they lose the game off of that. So is that even a good call for FlyQuest? I don't even know. I feel like that was way too high variance. Maybe Twitch chat and YouTube comments will disagree with me on that, but I don't know what Fly was thinking on that. That was way too daring, and now they are paying the price. Oh my god. Yeah, that is literally it. That is literally it. I don't know if that was even worth it. Right? I don't like forcing 5v5s when Baron's up like that. Especially when they can push so hard. Oh my god. And that's it, guys. Alright. Oh my god. Beautiful performance. Okay, so I see in recap here, I do see some aspects of Ssumday's play that could be improved. I do think that the Garen pick needs to be optimized for EG's strategy because the options that Ssumday had for applying pressure were not utilized properly in a space where it was totally available and warranted. And then also it does hopefully make me wishful that Ssumday will be bringing different builds to the table depending if he falls ahead or behind. Because, again, even though Rapid Fire Cannon is a great pickup to pick in this situation, it is much more luxurious because of that gold surplus, because he has the lead. I would hate to see Ssumday in a situation in the future where he is trying to go ahead and go for the cookie cutter build because there's solo queue players building it, there's Rank 1 Garen on Korea building it, and he doesn't know how to improvise as much. And that's the difficult part about Garen, is because there's like 30 different items that you can build on him that are applicable to different situations. So hopefully he does not fall into that type of like early on Garen main type of pitfall. I really hope that that's not going to be the case. But still, to see a performance like that as Garen's first ever game and leading into a victory in the LCS is definitely a treat and a delight to watch. And I was really, really happy to go ahead and review today's game. And hopefully you guys enjoyed coming on this journey with me too. So thanks everybody so much for watching. It's going to be interesting to see how Garen will show up in the future and how this one game might impact his future path into pro play, and what that means for us as solo queue Garen players as well, potentially, because if he does get popular, that could lead to potential nerfs or changes. You know, we saw that in the past with Season 9, and everyone was putting their tinfoil hats on, thinking Garen got reworked because he was getting paired with Yumi. So, it remains to be seen, but always interesting to keep the discussion nice and spicy. Alright, thanks so much for watching today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this analysis. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about Ssumday's Garen play. I'll see you guys later. Demacia, baby. Until next time.